All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Understanding Your Twitter Analytics. I'm Kate Cunningham. Today we are looking at the data that Twitter provides in its Analytics tab and how to use it. Let's get started. So data is good. This is one reason why we'd want to look at our Twitter Analytics. So if you are posting to Twitter a lot, fantastic. But you want to know if people are doing something with that or noticing you or your company. More importantly, they want you Hello everyone, and welcome to today's presentation on Understanding Your Twitter Analytics. I'm Kate Cunningham. So why would you want to look at Twitter Analytics? Well, data is a good thing to have, of course. Data tells us how our Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Understanding Your Twitter Analytics. I'm Kate Cunningham. Today we are looking at getting to know the Analytics tab inside Twitter. Now, why would we want to look at our analytics? Well, data, of course, is a good thing. So if you are posting to Twitter a lot, that's fantastic. But are people noticing you and your company and your message? And are they interacting with the content that you post? Well, we won't know that until we have good data to look at. So let's figure out some of the data that Twitter Analytics gives us. Three main things to know about. This is all actionable information to have so that once you've understood how to look at it, you'll know next what to do with it. So first up is the number of impressions. And this is the number of people to whom Twitter served your posts. So number of people who saw it generally. Doesn't mean they engaged with it, but they saw it or it was in their feed at a minimum. Next up is engagements, so that measures the number of people who did something with your tweet. They liked it, they shared it, they clicked on it, things like that. That's what we really want. That's the metric that I like to focus on the most. And then another key thing to know inside your analytics tab is your top tweets, and Twitter sorts this for you, and we'll look at that in a moment. But it lets you know which of your tweets was really the most successful. So let's take a look. First up, we have impressions, and impressions are an important metric, but I do think engagement is more important. So for example, you don't want to know how many people saw the sign for your business on the side of the road per se. You really want to know how many people saw the sign and bought something. Okay, so it's not just the number of people who looked at a product, but it's the number of people who did something like buy it. So impressions are the same way. It is exposure, and that's great, but it's not action. So it is one key metric, but for me, it's not the end-all, be-all. So I do think of engagement as really the most important metric. Depending on the purpose of your tweets, you do want people to share your information and click through to your store or your website. You want somebody to do something. Okay, so if you think of Twitter as like a networking social hour, it's not really as important how many people saw you there. It's actually more important how many hands you shook or people you met to make connections. So think of engagements much like that. Then we have the top tweets, and we'll look at these in a moment. But this helps us know what content people enjoyed, what other content should you avoid in the future. So if we think about it as most successful content, a lot of that is going to be inside of your top tweets section of the analytics tab. So consider, was the day that you spent making your video ad really worth it? Or did people care more about your informal cat videos? Well, Twitter's top tweets lets you know what people interacted with the most so you can repeat it, or do something similar, or pivot to something else. Here's an example of analytics for a tweet, and we'll look at our example inside Twitter in a moment. But just to give you a sense of what you are going to see for each tweet, on the right-hand side, you'll see a number of impressions that we've talked about, and then you'll see a number of engagements broken down now by link clicks, likes, detail, expand, so when someone clicks a photo or something to see it full screen, profile clicks on your bio, and retweets. So it gets pretty specific within the engagements section as well, which is nice. Twitter Analytics also has some other information for you, and we'll see some of it in a moment. but you can see how many people viewed your profile, how many new people followed you, and how many people mentioned you in their tweets. This is all good information to have. All of this data is great because it helps you explain the impact of your work on social media, on Twitter, to your boss or others on your team. So next up, I want to show you how you can get started doing this. So I want you to log into your Twitter account, and you navigate to your Analytics tab by clicking More on the left-hand side, Creator Studio and Analytics. And you'll be able to compare this month to last month by scrolling through the first two sections. And I'm going to walk you through step by step. All right, once you are logged into your account, you will come to the dashboard on the left-hand side and navigate to More, and then Creator Studio, and then Analytics. Twitter does change this every once in a while, but in general, you're looking for the Analytics tab. So it brings us to a nice dashboard. We can get a nice overview pretty quickly here of the performance of our tweets in the past 28 days. So this Twitter account had 8 tweets in the past month or so. Those tweets had about 2,500 impressions, so about 2,500 people saw those tweets. We don't know that they did anything with it, but we know that's the number to whom Twitter served these tweets. And they'll give us a nice comparison in terms of performance compared to last month. So we've got about 115% increase, which is nice. It also lets you know if there's a decrease both on impressions and the number of followers. You can see the number of profile visits, the people clicking on your profile or bio to learn more about you and your account, your group, whatever it happens to be. And it also lets you know the number of other Twitter accounts that mentioned you this month. So we've got a nice overview here of our top tweet, our top mention, top follower, and top media tweet. So let's take a look at those 4 things. So your top tweet, Twitter organizes that or decides that based on impressions. So this tweet here had 651 impressions. And it was a tweet that is welcoming people who are going to be new faculty coming to this particular campus. It has a couple of user @mentions, and it's actually a retweet of another program. That's one way to drive engagement, as we know. We can see specifics on this tweet as well as all tweet activity, and we'll look at that in a moment. Over here is the top mention for the month, and this is the mention of your account that had the most engagements. So somebody mentioned this account with a bunch of related hashtags, and it had 51 engagements. That's pretty good, depending on the size of your company or organization, and it's just good to know about this particular person does get a lot of engagements on their tweets. Your top follower is the follower with the most followers themselves, and Twitter just lets you know that, so you can think about creative ways to engage with that particular account, either by @mentioning them or maybe sharing some of their content so that you can capitalize both on the number of followers they have and you have. And then the top media tweet, it's a tweet that includes photo, GIF, things like that. Twitter puts that in a different category here, and this particular one had a flyer for an upcoming event, and it earned 239 impressions this month. This has a couple of @mentions as well as hashtags, and then again that photo. So let's look here at all tweet activity, and I like this because it gives us even more information. You can scroll through and do sort of day by day if you wanted to look at what you were doing on a particular day and whether or not it was successful. It also tells you each of your tweets, so you can remember that here, oh yeah, you were congratulating somebody who won a prestigious award, and you were retweeting the announcement of that award in particular. It's going to give you the number of impressions that we've talked about, the number of engagements. So this is really an important key performance indicator that we want to look at. This is clicks anywhere on the tweet, hashtags, links, your username, things like that. It also includes retweets, replies, follows, and likes. And Twitter Analytics includes this in a scroll over in case you forget what you're looking at. And then it's got the engagement rate as well. So these are all good things to know about, to share with your company as you think about how well you're doing. So you can scroll through and look at your different tweets. You might think about if there's a zero tweet with zero engagement, maybe what you might have done better, what you might do better next time. You can see a lot of the information over on the far right in terms of when your engagement was up and down. You can also look at link clicks, so number of people who clicked on something in one of your tweets. You can look at retweets without comments if you'd like to, and then you can look at the number of likes here and figure out what was popular on what day and things like that. All good information. I encourage you to explore the rest of these tabs for information that might be helpful for making your content even more successful. As you finish up, you should know that you can also export this data if you need to present it or you want to sort it in a different way. Thanks so much.